She called the cops and screamed, "Arrest him!" But I was on my own land. The words cut through the chaos as sirens lit up the neighborhood. My shed had collapsed just minutes earlier, crushing the fence and throwing debris across the yard. But what froze my blood wasn't the wood cracking or glass shattering. It was my son's scream as he was carried out on a stretcher, his tiny arms flailing. Neighbors gathered in shock, phones out, whispering. Yet Karen, the woman from across the street, who had always treated the block like her kingdom, pointed straight at me. "He built it illegally. He endangered the whole neighborhood," she yelled, her voice sharp enough to silence the crowd. I stood there, my shirt torn, dust in my eyes, trying to keep calm while every bone in my body wanted to shout back. The police officer gave me that look, the kind that says you're already guilty before you explain a thing. I tried to speak, but Karen shoved a paper into his hand. "Here's the HOA notice," she said proudly, as if this moment was planned. My stomach sank. I never received any notice, but she grinned like she'd already won. And right then, as my boys' cries echoed into the night, I realized this wasn't an accident, it was a setup. The paramedics rushed my son into the ambulance, and I tried to follow, but the officer blocked me with one hand. "Sir, we need to ask you some questions first." My jaw clenched. My child was screaming for me, and I was stuck facing Karen's smug smile. "Don't let him near the boy," she barked. "He's reckless, unstable. He doesn't even belong in this neighborhood." The crowd gasped, and I could feel eyes burning into me. My fist tightened, but I forced myself to breathe. Losing my temper now would hand her exactly what she wanted. "That shed collapsed because of the storm last night," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I checked it this morning. It was fine." Karen laughed, pulling out her phone. "Funny because I sent you this violation notice weeks ago. You ignored it, and now look. A child nearly dies because of you." She held up a blurry picture of my yard, a fake document attached. The officer raised his brow. My pulse quickened. That wasn't HOA letterhead, it was typed up at home. But would anyone believe me? Karen leaned closer, whispering so only I could hear. "You're not as smart as you think. People here listen to me." I looked past her, watching the ambulance doors slam shut, my boys' cries fading. My heart broke, but anger burned hotter. She thought I was just some single dad with no power, someone easy to crush. She had no idea who she was messing with. I barely had a second to breathe when two men in uniforms walked up the driveway. Their badges gleamed under the streetlight. But something about them felt off. Too shiny. Too new, like props from a store. Karen waved them over like she was the chief herself. "Officers, arrest him for code violations and endangering the community," she ordered, chin high. The real cop beside me frowned, but before he could speak, one of the newcomers stepped forward and grabbed my arm. "You're coming with us," he said in a flat tone. My chest tightened. These weren't local police. I knew the look. The stance, the way they held themselves. Wrong shoes, no radio, no patches. My military training screamed it instantly. I pulled back hard. "Show me your credentials," I demanded. The crowd whispered, phone still recording. Karen shoved her way between us. "Don't waste time, he's dangerous," she shouted. The officer who'd been questioning me earlier looked uneasy, but Karen's voice drowned him out. For a second, it felt like the whole block turned against me. My son was gone in an ambulance. I was surrounded by strangers, and Karen's lies spread like wildfire. But deep inside, I wasn't afraid. Because the truth was, before I became a dad, I was a soldier. And if she thought fake uniforms and forged papers could break me, she had no idea what kind of fight she just started. The taller fake cop tightened his grip and yanked my arm like he was about to haul me off the property. "Resisting will make it worse," he hissed, trying to sound official. I planted my boots on the ground, refusing to move. "Real officers carry radios. Where's yours?" I asked loud enough for the neighbors to hear. The crowd murmured, doubt flickering across their faces. Karen panicked and barked, "Don't listen to him! He's violent! Get him out of here now!" Before anyone could process, headlights swung onto my driveway. A tow truck rumbled up, hooking straight to my pickup without even a word. My chest sank. That truck wasn't just wheels. It held my tools, my lifeline for work. "Hey, that's private property," I shouted, but the driver avoided my eyes, clearly paid off. Karen smirked. "HOA order," she announced proudly, waving another fake paper. The humiliation burned deeper than the steel cable tightening around my truck. My son was in the hospital. Strangers were trying to drag me off. And now my only means of income was disappearing in front of the whole neighborhood. For a moment I saw red, but instead of fighting, I let a slow smile spread across my face. Karen thought she was burying me. What she didn't know was that every second of this circus was being recorded from the hidden cameras on my property. And soon her whole little empire would crumble. The fake cops shoved me again, trying to drag me toward their car, but I planted my feet and locked eyes with the real officer, who'd been silent this whole time. "Are you really letting this happen?" I asked, my voice steady but loud enough for everyone to hear. He hesitated, glancing at the shiny badges, clearly unsure. Karen jumped in fast, waving the fake document in his face. "Don't question it. He's a threat. And if you don't remove him, you're responsible too." Her words dripped with arrogance, and for a moment it almost worked. Neighbors shook their heads, whispering things I couldn't quite hear. My truck clanked as the chains tightened, ready to haul it away. My son's voice still echoed in my ears, and anger twisted inside me. But instead of fighting back, I calmly raised my phone and tapped the screen. The security feed blinked to life, clear footage of Karen slipping papers into my mailbox days earlier. No HOA logo, just her printer and smug smile. Gasps rippled through the crowd as I held it high. "This is who you're listening to," I said, my voice sharp now. Karen froze for a split second but quickly plastered on a fake laugh. "Do you really think anyone will believe your little videos?" she sneered. But her eyes betrayed her, flicking nervously toward the neighbors filming everything. She still thought she controlled the game. She didn't realize the board had already flipped. The taller fake cop lunged for my phone, but I stepped back fast, holding it high as neighbors raised their own cameras. "Touch me again," I said firmly, "and you'll answer to real law enforcement." The crowd buzzed louder now, some whispering, some openly questioning. Karen's voice cracked as she shouted, "He's lying! That footage is fake. He edited it." But her confidence was slipping, her face flushed under the streetlights. The real officer finally stepped closer, his hand on his radio. "Ma'am, I'll need to verify these documents you provided." For the first time, Karen faltered. They're from the HOA, she stammered, but she couldn't produce a single signature or official seal. One of the neighbors called out, "I never got a notice either." Another chimed in, "She's been harassing people for months." Murmurs turned to angry voices, the tide shifting fast. My truck groaned as the tow driver tightened the hook again. But now people stepped between him and the vehicle, blocking the path. Karen screamed, "Move! This is my authority!" Her mask was cracking wide open. My heart pounded, not just from anger, but from the relief of seeing the truth leak through. But I stayed quiet, letting her bury herself deeper. Because in my pocket was something far stronger than video, a document she could never twist. Proof that not only was my shed legal, but this land was mine, free and clear. Karen's voice grew shrill as the real officer asked again for official paperwork. "You don't question me," she snapped, pointing at my shed's remains like it was proof of a crime. "He's dangerous. He doesn't even belong here." Her words cut, but this time I didn't flinch. Slowly, I pulled a folded envelope from my back pocket, the one I had kept untouched for years. "You want to talk about belonging?" I said, my voice steady. I opened it and held it up to the officer. "This is the original deed. My grandfather bought this land before half these houses even existed. No HOA rules touch me. Not now, not ever." The officer took it, studied the seal, and his expression shifted instantly. The crowd gasped. Karen's face drained of color. That can't be real," she stammered, stepping back. I didn't stop. "And one more thing," I added, letting my gaze lock on the fake cops. "You think you can intimidate me with knockoff uniforms? I train men who wear the real thing. Army Rangers, special tactics. I know a fraud the second I see one." The two imposters froze, their act crumbling as murmurs of fake cops spread like wildfire. Karen spun, desperate now, shouting, "No! He's lying! Don't listen to him!" But no one moved for her anymore. The power she once held over this street vanished in seconds, and she knew it. The real officer's voice cut through the noise. "Ma'am, step back. These men are not with us." His hand went to his cuffs as he signaled backup. The fake cops froze, their cheap badges glinting under the flashing lights before they were yanked aside and forced to the ground. The neighbors erupted, phones lifted high, capturing every second. Karen stumbled, her bravado gone, eyes darting around like she was searching for an escape. "You can't do this to me! I run this neighborhood!" she shrieked. But the only reply was the sharp click of cuffs snapping around her wrists. The officer read her rights while she thrashed and screamed. For the first time all night, I let myself breathe. My truck was unhooked, the driver muttering apologies as he drove off. Neighbors came to my side, their whispers now words of support. "We're with you. We saw everything." My eyes burned, not from dust this time, but from the thought of my boy in that hospital bed. I looked up at the ambulance lights fading down the road and whispered to myself, "You're safe now, son. Nobody touches this family again." Then louder. For everyone to hear, I said, "I didn't fight for this country to be told I can't stand on my own land." The street went quiet, then cheers broke out. Justice wasn't just served, it was witnessed, and that was something Karen could never erase.